Hey everybody, it's John Reinhardt here with Reinhardt Group LLC, and today I'm out in my front yard and I'm going to show you exactly how to get the nicest front yard in your neighborhood. My family's been landscaping here for 20 or so years. I'm ready to pass this information on to you so you can see exactly how we do it. It's a very simple process and I need to do it to my yard. So me and my dog Rome, we're going to show you how it's done.
So here's a look at the yard before we start. It's not hard to see how uneven the ground is. The veins of the leaves really highlight the low spots. I bought this property as my first rental property, and one way to maximize the rent that you're going to get for that property is to make sure you got some curb appeal going on. So let's get this yard fixed up and looking right. Our first order of business is going to be blowing all of the loose debris out into the yard, and then we'll get it picked up off of the yard. I wasn't the biggest fan of these Ego blowers or Ego power tools when they first came out, but you get a ton of power out of them with virtually pretty much no maintenance. After all your debris is blown into the yard, it's time to get everything picked up off of the grass. Today we're going to be using a Toro Time Master 30-inch mower with the bagging system. Make sure you lower your deck as far down as it can go because we're going to kill two birds with one stone by scalping the yard as we are bagging the debris. I think this was able to drop down to about 1.5 inches, but you can go lower if you want. It's really important to make sure you pick up all those leaves and debris because it creates a moisture barrier between the grass and the moisture that you need to get to the grass. When you water your yard or when it rains and you have leaves like that on top of it, the water just sits on top of the leaves until it evaporates, doing nothing for your yard. And then the reason that we're scalping the yard down to 1.5 inches or lower if you want to is to really try to cut down anything that might be dead that we have not been able to get with our normal mowings. And by the time you get everything scalped down, you'll be able to see kind of the layout of the land a little bit better, where the low spots are, where the high spots are, where you need to fill everything in at. So that's why we're doing this. And then after you're satisfied with how clean your yard is, it's time to get the aerator out and plug some holes in our yard. I usually use a walk-behind aerator for these residential properties, but it's on a different job today, so I will use the pull-behind with the four-wheeler. As you can see, Rome loves the four-wheeler. I think a lot of people skip the aeration step just because they don't have access to an aerator. And truth be told, there are a ton of ways to get this done. There are aerator shoes, there are non-motorized aerators, and I've even rented an aerator from a rental mart. I mean, if you have one of those near you or any place that you can rent equipment, it was like $50 and they gave me a trailer to use with the aerator so I could tow the thing around. So there are a ton of different options out there if you need help getting access to an aerator. I found this knuckle duster knife in my garage, and you just never know what you will find when you buy a house from an old person. We're going to lay down our grass seed, and we're going to lay it down heavy so you can take that seeder and let it go wide open. And like I said, we're laying this seed down thick. I'm going over this yard 2 or 3 times, emptying about a 50-pound bag just to kind of help you gauge where you should be at with your seed. I would not skimp on this step. After everything is seeded, it's time to lay down some starter fertilizer. We're going with some Anderson 16-16-16. Now you can over fertilize a yard, so we're gonna knock that knob down back to half. Now this step right here is what will really separate your yard from the rest, and that's gonna be our top dressing. If this is your first time applying top dressing, I like to use what's called masonry sand, or commonly referred to as brown sand. You don't want to use natural sand because of how much rock and gravel are in natural sand. Whitewash sand can and should be used on your second application. Masonry sand does not wash away as easily as white sand, and it gives you a more sturdy foundation. By the time your second application rolls around, your grass will already be much thicker and it will protect the whitewash sand a little bit better. I start off by dumping heavy amounts in areas with the deepest valleys, and then I will smooth it out with the pull-behind rake. And this is going to smooth it out while it distributes sand across the rest of the yard. It's pretty nifty. And that's looking pretty good. I'm really happy with how smooth that is just after a few passes here. We do have another spot on the other side of the driveway we have to attend to, and it's pretty bad as well. We're going to do the same thing here, just start dumping heavy in our low areas, and then we're just going to drag the excess out with the four-wheeler. And if you don't have access to a four-wheeler with a pull-behind rake, no problem at all. A common garden rake flipped upside down will work just fine to smooth that sand out. I like to do a majority of the heavy lifting with the four-wheeler and the pull-behind rake, but I'll always go back and fine-tune everything with a garden rake. But as you can see, I'm losing daylight here.
All right, the sun is finally coming up. I lost a lot of daylight yesterday just waiting on a 3D printer. Got it. There you go. It finally showed up, and I only had like 2.5 hours of daylight to work yesterday. We don't have a whole lot left to do today. We just have to spread the rest of our sand, and then we'll rake it in with the little four-wheeler attachment. So I'm ready to get this job done, and let's finish it up.
So we're back at it with the top dressing. That coat did not last long. Our goal here today is to just put a layer of sand over the entire yard. That's all we're doing. We'll get a whole bunch of piles dumped and then just start throwing them with a shovel. Now we'll just fine tune those shovel throws with a rake and we'll move our way across the entire yard. Please try not to judge me too hard on my sidewalk edges. I know they need done, and they will be done in my next video. That's what it's going to be about. We're doing sidewalk edges and power washing in the next video.
You comfy? It's sandy, it's smooth, huh? It's smooth, huh? Oh, big stretch, big stretch, big stretch. She's getting ready for more work. All right, let's get back to it.
And then our last step here is just running the pull behind rake over the entire yard. This is going to help knock that sand down. Right now it's kind of resting on top of the grass. What we want to do is knock it down onto the ground. So that's where we're going to get the best results at. If you don't have access to a pull behind rake like this, you know, a normal yard roller would work just to help knock the sand and grass seed and fertilizer down onto the ground and then smooth everything out. And as you're doing this, you start to notice the sand, it does start to almost dissipate. This is exactly what you want. It's just getting taken out of your eyesight. It's dropping down below the grass. It's dropping down into the aeration holes, which is exactly what we want to help improve our irrigation. And if there is one thing that I have learned when doing this, is to make sure that you save just a little bit of sand for when you're all done with raking. I know at some point in time you're probably going to come across a spot in your yard where you're like, I could have just used a little bit more sand there. It will help you to make sure that you have just a little extra for those bare spots. And then we have one more little final raking here, and then it's time to wrap this job up.
That is it. We are done. We are completely done with it. I love the way that it looks. It is so soft. I mean, it is, wow, is it so soft. This is gonna be a great yard. What do you think, Rum? You think it's gonna be a great yard? So a little bit of a before and after there. You can kind of see, you know, what we started with and, you know, where we're at now. And I'm happy with where we're at. I think this is gonna be a great, great yard. I can't wait to get some water on this and see exactly how it looks once we get everything watered.
And I just want everybody to kind of see exactly how much sand I put on my yard. Your first application, you're looking at anywhere between 1 to 2 inches is about where you want to be at. You can go much thicker on your second and third applications, but for your first time, you want to see a little bit of green there.
All right, everybody. Everything is loaded up and we are about to call this job a day. We're pretty much all done, but you guys got to see the entire process from start to finish. You know, getting the whole yard cut down really, really short, getting all the debris picked up, and then aerating, putting sand down, smoothing the sand out. You guys got the great gist of how it's all done. I mean, this is what golf courses do, and this should be a golf course style quality yard when it's all said and done. I'm gonna get the sprinkler on it right now. If you guys found this information helpful, hit that thumbs up button. I would so greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe because you guys have to see the progress. Like, you have to see what it looks like when it's all done here. It'll take me a couple weeks here to get some water on it, get everything coming up nice and good. But yeah, I'm just so excited about it. It's gonna look really, really great. This is John Reinhardt here with Reinhardt Group LLC. If you guys need any work like this done, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm in Lima, Ohio, and we'll see you then.